Hello, loyal viewers of Wild Elf 26. It is me once again, and it looks like I'm going to start off another walk-in rant. I don't want to get all like Andy Rooney or anything, but don't you hate lightning storms? Yeah, Sunday, June 15th. Shortly after 2, our part of Florida got pelted with some heavy-duty lightning storms, real serious thunder boomers, and I did a little short video earlier showing one of the casualties of that lightning storm, because where I'm at, the main building property, or the main functionary parts, plus the garage too, the power went out like 4 times. And on top of this, it was either the last 2 or the final power out, but it was major lightning. I had on the complete other side, if you rotate the property around, my room has a door facing outside. And it wasn't raining at the moment I left my room, so I just left the door open. And there's a number of items that were metal that were not far from the open door. And plus it has a decorative, what they call a low-hang ceiling kind of thing. It's done for decoration basically, but it has a metal bracing to hold the ceiling structure in place. My theory is, with the door wide open, and for whatever reason, the lightning hit that bracing. It hit the metal items on the floor, and it hit, on top of all this too, it also hit the power strip, because I had items that were in the power strip that got completely toasted. One item, which happened to be one on the floor, and I'm not sure if it's from the power strip or if it's because of direct lightning contact, but it got toasted so bad it was on fire. And there were a couple of bags up by the main brace for the ceiling. One was a bag of some groceries I just got the night before, mostly those ramen cups. And the other bag, I had a box of Pop-Tarts in there, and I had my folded shorts and swimsuit bikini bottoms in that bag. And anything that was on the shelf that was high up within a foot and a half of the ceiling, they all got flash heat, like a flash flame, kind of like you see in the movie Backdraft, when someone opens the door without checking it. Well, this was an open door, and it was a tremendous just onslaught of lightning, and it looks like it hit multiple points at the same time. And the thing was, I was clear around the main structure, and I was kind of trapped in there, but I did have my umbrella outside, I remembered, and I thought, oh, I gotta go close my door. And so I start running out there with the umbrella, and it's just pouring rain. And you know, my first sign of panic, besides, you know, trying to get there and shut this door so stuff doesn't get soaked, you know, because the rain, when the wind hits the rain, sometimes the rain starts coming horizontally instead of vertically, and it's ridiculous, you know. I mean, it's not even like a hurricane or a tropical storm, but it was a storm as destructive as any other that would hit you during that kind of thing. And it was shock, you know. I saw smoke. The moment I saw the source of the smoke, I ran. I grabbed the water bucket. I always keep one full just in case, because on the area around that side, there's a little alcove for the gas barbecue grill. And the main water bucket, I used to water some of the bushes and plants and stuff And when I'm done doing that, I always make sure it's full. I put it there just in case there's any kind of emergency. There's a access way to the back porch, which is screened in, and you can't have, like, if someone caught fire from the grill, you can't have someone go wandering in there, because then they're going to catch the screen porch on fire just coming through, you know. So it's stop, drop, and roll if someone gets hit with some horrible gas grill fire or something. And then I'd grab the bucket and start putting them out. Well, anyway, got to the door, source of the smoke, very close to the front door, and I was in horror and I couldn't process it, but I have a no panic mentality and that kind of stuff, and immediately went for what the solution was. And I immediately ran. I turned off what do you call that? A diverter for power. So my room didn't have power, and so that wasn't feeding anything. And because if you ever mess with like an electrical fire, that's a big deal, and you gotta be careful how you do that. So I wasn't sure what the nature was. It was all happening rapidly right there in my face, and I had to start doing stuff right there. So I grabbed the bucket. I come in, it knocks it down a third of its size. I run to the nearest garden hose. I fill it up again, hit it again. It knocks it down 2/3 less than what it was. And then the third bucket full was enough to douse it, and douse it thorough. Also getting some things wet in the process. Stuff that had avoided getting destroyed by being melted or burned. Instead got water damage, so that was nice. Not to mention some layer of soot from the initial flash heat thing. I deducted later that one of the main bracing points close to the front door received the brunt of the lightning. Why? Because on the shelf that bracing point touches on one side, I had one of my Star Trek DVDs up there, the DVD case, and it's a two disc DVD thing, the Voyage Home Special Edition. And that case and the discs inside it, when the initial strike hit, it exploded. There were fragments of it everywhere. Fragments of the DVDs everywhere. And I'd pick up a fragment and I'd see the lettering and I'd see what movie it was. And, you know, the whole reason it was on the shelf was it's one of my better movies, one of my special movies. Yeah, The Voyage Home was an awesome Star Trek movie. And so putting that aside, I deducted that the main brace definitely was live in like the most intense way. And on the opposite side of the room where the bracer touches down, I had a stack of DVDs. I had a couple of figures. I also had that recent Optimus Prime, and it too, the overwhelming just amount of energy and heat that suddenly, you know, the room goes from like 80 or 85 degrees to suddenly 2,000 degrees that quick for an instant, like 2,000 degrees. Very, very hard for stuff to take that. Some argue that lightning bolts are hotter than 2,000, that they claim they're hotter than the surface of the sun. So I'm not sure how they accomplish those kind of measurements, but I'm sure it's interesting. Sorry, folks, I didn't start the walk. I just started the rant. So anyway, when it was all said and done, the first casualty, my Blu-ray HDMI DVD player. The second casualty, because it was on the wall on a hook very close to one of the bracing points, and when I found it later, it was still hanging on the hook, but its shell had exploded from all that immediate heat energy, and it was unresponsive. It had a full charge. The battery did not corrupt. It did not affect the battery, but the rest of the device was exploded in a very unnatural way. And since it's kind of gotten together again, but for all intents and purposes, it destroyed my handheld AtGames Gopher. It's gone. So that's second casualty. The other one from the video, the short video, was my Sega Gopher. I mean, not my Sega Gopher, my Sony PlayStation 2. And that's probably my retro consoles, classic game systems, just because of what they accomplished with the PS2, the sheer volume of games available for it, and how long they kept supporting the PS2, and plus the fact that any PS2 can play all the original PlayStation games as well, backward compatibility. Yeah, so that was quite a thing for me. I'm going to switch the camera downward now. So yeah, you know, I might be sounding a little bit broken up or something about it, and there's some other loose ends to do with all this too, because since all this I've been involved in the salvage and cleanup, you know, sorting what's been trashed to what's salvageable, and when it destroyed my PS2, the energy burst that did this inside the PS2 was so intense that the memory card, the frickin' memory card that was inside the player 1 slot exploded. Memory card exploded. Sorry, I'm getting this thing with the thing here. Wait a minute. Hopefully that's not part of the video, because it was on my screen, so sorry about that. But the memory card exploded, and at some point, if you're all very familiar with YouTube and you know the YouTube My Community, I'll probably post pictures of what was left of the memory card. I'm sorry, folks. It just kind of hit me because I've had years of memory files on that memory card, different game files, and some of the files go as far back as when my mom was still alive, and even in her older age she enjoyed playing video games. And I was saving some of her Onimusha files were on there. She had an Onimusha 3 file that I kept on there, and she liked some of the racing games too. I remember I had Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 and Need for Speed Most Wanted. The first Need for Speed Most Wanted, when it was on GameCube and PS2 and whatever. And she had files on this stuff, and I also had Medal of Honor Rising Sun. There was a file that was just separately hers on there, and she liked the first-person shooters too. So anyway, there was a lot of history on that memory card, that PS2 memory card. And when I say memory card, I'm not talking about an SD card or something like that. To the newer gamers that are out there listening, these were dedicated memory cards. They're like cartridges, and they have the PS2 logo on them. And they generally say 8 MB or megabits or whatever rate of storage that they tell us it is, and then we find out years later that they were BSing us the whole time, like they were with the 16 megs and all that for Super NES and Genesis games. Turns out later they weren't 16 megs. They were barely 5 megs. Yeah. But I'm not going into all that right now. Yeah, so it was an unsavory experience. A very important console, and it just ain't right. I had one console that went bad because I owned it for a while. It had been a previously owned one, and one day the power button fell off of it. It was a PS2 Slim. And I was so distraught because the solders to hold in that power button are like hairs. They are hairs. And I think it takes 4 dedicated solders plus like a holder solder to be initial one or something. And I can't solder anything smaller than a ball bearing, But whoever owned that Slim before I did must have really smacked the crap out of it or something. And the power button led to other problems with it, and then it just basically wasn't even functioning anymore. And that had nothing to do with weather or any of that stuff. So that thing finally went down, and thankfully, big thanks, quite an interesting fellow on YouTube. He customizes consoles into handhelds, and he also refurbishes a lot of vintage consoles too, and does other customizations. He's known as Slipstream GT and Mr. Mods. That's another moniker of his. His YouTube channel is called Mr. Mods Slipstream GT, but it's a lot easier to find him if you look for a video called Electus 64 Portable N64. But he was the one, and it was a big thanks to him that when my PS Slim basically self-destructed on its own, with all of its little problems. It was during the holidays, and thankfully he had a refurbished PS2, and he got it sent to me quite quickly, and it arrived promptly, and I made a big video about that and everything. And this was that PS2. This PS2, meant a lot to me for a lot of reasons, a lot of different reasons. And I know I'm going on and on about this PS2, but it really is the brunt. It's the ox that's almost the heart, lifeblood of the Wild Elf 26 channel. I mean, granted, I do have some other retro consoles and consoles that play retro games, game cartridges and whatnot. But yeah, the PS2 was, pretty tops on the important list of my consoles. And they're not rare by any stretch of the imagination. I think they made more PS2 consoles for North America than they made for the entire run of the NES console. And at one point, back in the old NES days, they were claiming 1 out of every 10 houses in America had a Nintendo NES 8-bit system. So that's food for thought. That they actually made more PS2s than they made those NESs. And we're talking all the NESs. Even the top loader NES that they made late into the run, the 1990s run. But I think Japan got the NES either in 84 or 83, and then we got it either at the tail end of 84, beginning of 85. But yeah, so there's more PS2s in the wild, as it were. They love using that expression, in the wild. You know, well, in the world. Yeah. At least in our neck of the woods of the world, you know. Here in Central Florida of the United States and everything. So that's how that went down. And of course, it almost goes without saying, the strike took out my television. It took out my television. It's my primary monitor screen in order to bring you guys good commentary, good video game footage, our impromptu Q&A almost about some games. I also wanted to do something with movies, but I gotta be careful with the movie thing. These were plans I had, you know, before this storm came, and like a bull in a china shop just destroyed so much of my important belongings. I mean, it might have destroyed about 20% of my belongings, but it happened to destroy like the most primary important ones. And that's not fun. I don't really wish that on anybody, so, you know. But it's Florida, and one of Florida's official monikers, besides the Sunshine State, it's also been dubbed the lightning capital of the world. And boy howdy, it certainly came through on that. And it just gets me, you know. It didn't strike the highest point. That seems to be a myth, a rapidly failing myth about the highest point. Sure, sometimes lightning hits highest points. I remember there were some fishermen probably 8 years ago in South Florida, and he'd been hit on his boat, you know. But there were other boats that were taller, and his boat had mostly wood, and there were boats out there that had a lot of metal components and stuff. Where he was fishing, it was like a busy weekend, and he didn't go out, you know, way far away in the waters that didn't have other boats. He was actually kind of in a group of boats, you know. And then there was this other guy, and he was from almost the same part of Florida as the previous guy, the guy in the boat. And they were showing footage of his front driveway, you know, concrete, right? Just like this slab right here, just unfinished, just concrete, right? A real basic driveway. There was a huge hole that was almost the depth of half of a cinder block, a jagged hole, and scorch everywhere. And there was a tree that had some obvious lightning damage too next to this drive. But the bolt apparently came at an angle and hit the man's driveway. He had a 2-story house. And you know, I guess maybe it's just me, but the roof of a 2-story house seems like it's a little higher up, a little higher point than the level of the driveway. So it ignored his house, but hit his driveway, and it hit the tree along the way. And you can Google this stuff. You can find the guy that lightning hit his driveway. Probably have to search for lightning hit his concrete driveway. Sorry, folks. Hold on a minute. Crunchy. All right. Now, I'm a little parched, and some air went down the wrong way, and suddenly I'm hacking and coughing for no reason. All right. Yeah, sometimes on these walks I bring something to drink or something, and this time I did not. Yeah. I mean, it's fairly dark, less street lights and whatnot. I did a short vid a little while ago too. There's this one structure, it's a commercial place, and every time I pass by it, it gives me familiarity vibes to a classic Sega game series. You remember the House of the Dead, right? Well, this thing looks like the Curian Mansion, or it reminds me strongly of the Curian Mansion. It's got a little concrete fountain in front, a big driveway, and they changed the colors of the window lights on every other different night. They're usually a different color. Last time it was green. Tonight they're blue. And I'm going to zoom in so you can see that. Well, I guess not. I hit the zoom prompt, and nothing happened there. So, but yeah, you guys can freeze frame that and enlarge it and look at it and whatever. Tell me in the comments if it kind of reminds you of the Curian Mansion, and if you didn't get enough of it there, you can find that short video where I get a slightly better image quality of it. But God, I'm going hoarse. Yeah, let that be a lesson, folks. If you're gonna go on a walk and rant, especially an emotionally charged one, because a bunch of your dear property got destroyed due to a lightning strike. Yeah, on a Sunday, no less. That's nice. Yeah. Makes you think, you know. Huh. So, yeah, if you're held down by bad weather on a Sunday, you might get more than just bad weather. Yeah, I'm definitely, you can tell I'm not thrilled by how that went down. And the beauty of this situation is, even after the aftermath of this and all the cleanup and everything, there's still some other loose ends that I got to take care of down the road for this. So, it's never a simple thing, folks. It's always some finagled, weird, out of left field kind of thing. But this is the Wild Elf 26 channel, so I guess it's kind of at home there. And people wonder, what's my channel designation? Well, its major point is retro gaming and retro pop culture related to gaming, preferably systems up until the PS3 and nothing after that, really, for the most part. And I was a little reluctant to even include PS3 because games that do not have proper manuals included, especially when you pay the high prices you pay for them, I don't really consider those proper, retro games. It's more of this new download PC platform that's being presented as a gaming platform, when in fact it's more a custom PC. And a little light I'll shed on that. A little clarity I'll throw on that. Why do I call that a custom PC gaming instead of platform gaming? Well, internet leaderboards and internet verification itself. Some games don't even let you access certain modes unless you're online. Even modes that have nothing to do with online, like 2 players split screen in the same room. I've noticed that on a few games of the PS3 era. And it's totally ridiculous. Sorry folks, I'm tending to go a little farther, a little rambling on, you know. This particular version of my walk and rant, I didn't intend for it to go as long as I usually go. I usually go like 45 to an hour long with these things. But I'm actually going to wrap this one up pretty soon. All I can say is take all the weather precautions you can. If there's even a chance for rain that's more than 25%, make sure you shut your doors and your windows. And if you can get some of those surge protector wall taps or something, I would definitely recommend them. But here's the kicker about wall outlets that are surge protected. They're usually only guaranteed for 1 strike. So once you get hit once and they protect you from getting your items toasted, that's it. They no longer have the surge protection available in them for the next time around. You have to buy a brand new one. So that's kind of a pain, ain't it? Yeah. All right, guys. This is your good pal. I'm going to try to get this in some sort of good light. This is your good pal, Wild Elf 26. And the filter on this phone is terrible with light and dark. Doesn't matter how light it is, it always looks like it's in a dark cave or something. All right, have a great one, guys. And may the Triforce bless you all. May the Triforce bless you better than it's blessed me. And obviously. And you have a great one. Have a great week. And as Wild Elf videos usually go, extreme close up.